Hi, it's time for Chapter 14 of Terror at Bottle Creek by Watt Key. Again, please read along as I read it out loud. You will remember more of the book. As the outside edges of Hurricane Igor tore into the Gulf Coast, the four of us sat around the Stovall's kitchen table, listening to the giant storm spitting rain and tossing the trees. He should have been back a long time ago, I said. Try to call him again. I shook my head. He's not answering. Maybe he got blown away, Francie said. Mrs. Stovall got up from the table. Francie, she said, it's bedtime. It's always bad when Mom sends you to bed, isn't it? But what if he got blown way up into a tree? He didn't get blown away. Now, go back to your room, and I'll be there in a minute to tuck you in. Francie disappeared down the hall, dragging Elmo. Maybe everybody's out of ice, Liza said. He's up at Mom's. You know that. Maybe it's best if she has someone with her, Mrs. Stovall said. I think the houseboat's already hung up, and I can't move it by myself. Mrs. Stovall walked over to the television and watched the weather report for a moment. It looks like we've still got a couple of hours before it gets really bad, she said. This is just the edge of it. He should be here with us, I said. Mrs. Stovall took a deep breath and let it out. Let me get Francie to bed, she said. Then I'll go get him. It shouldn't take more than 15 minutes, and your Mom can come back over here if she wants. I didn't care about avoiding Mom anymore. Now Dad was endangering the Stovalls, and for the first time my frustration turned to anger. You shouldn't have to do that, I said. If I'm going, I need to go now before it gets much worse, she said. I rethought it all, trying to make sure I wasn't being overly concerned, but there was definitely something wrong with the boat, and if we lost it, we'd be in big trouble. Okay, I said, you better go. Mrs. Stovall went to tuck Francie in bed. She returned a few minutes later, got her rain jacket and a flashlight, and headed for the door. Watch out for Catfish, I said. He's tied behind your car. I'll move him, she said. Be careful, Mom, Liza said. I had a bad feeling about Mrs. Stovall leaving, but I had an even worse feeling about going through the storm without Dad. After Mrs. Stovall was gone, Liza and I watched the news on television. The eye of the storm was only a few hours from landfall, and the weatherman was making his report from a beach somewhere in the midst of it. He ducked into his microphone, his rain suit flapping in the gale-force winds, tremendous dirty waves smashing into a seawall behind him. An hour passed before the phone rang again. Liza answered it. Okay, she said, we'll stay inside. No, she's still asleep. Okay, I love you too. We will. She held the phone out to me. Your dad wants to talk to you. Hey, I said into the phone. Y'all doing all right? Right now we are. Listen, the creek's already up over the bridge. We can't get back there. Looks like you're in charge. Why didn't you answer your radio? Battery's dead. You can call us here. At Mom's? Yeah. I took a deep breath. Dad, I'm worried about the houseboat. It's not floating right and the river's still rising. We've done all we can do about that, he said. I feel like I should cut one of the lines and pull the spuds. Just stay away from it. It's too dangerous to cut the lines if they're strained like that. I don't know how to wire the generator into the electric panel. Don't worry about that. If you lose power, just plug some lights in the deep freezer into an extension cord. Keep the refrigerator door shut as much as you can, and it'll stay cool for a while. More questions spun in my head as Dad hung silently on the other end of the line. It seemed none of this was a big deal at all to him. Then I realized I would never be able to ask him all I needed to know, and the phones were probably going to go dead. Anger suddenly flooded over me, and I couldn't hold it back. Dad, I just want you back here. Why aren't you here? I meant to be, son. I just got behind. Your mother's by herself, and she's a grown-up, Dad. We're kids. What if something happens to the houseboat? What are we going to do then? Calm down, son. You can do this. You got a better head on your shoulders than your old man. You just need to use it and keep everybody safe. I stared at the floor, breathing out my anger, trying to calm myself. Court? What? I snapped. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. I just don't know how. Just stay inside and use your head. I rubbed my face and sighed. There's no way you can make it back? We'll get over there tomorrow as soon as we can. Okay, I said. Call me if you need me, Dad said. Charge your radio, I said, before the power goes out. All right, he said, I will. I hung up the phone and stood there staring at it. Mom's worried, Liza said. Yeah, me too. But we'll just stay inside. Go check on Francie. Don't tell her about your mom being gone. Liza disappeared down the hall, and I turned to the television again. The hurricane was already using its eastern flank winds to blow the Gulf water directly into Mobile Bay and up into the rivers and swamps. The weatherman said we were on the eastern side of the eye wall and would receive the worst of it. The water would continue to rise, and the wind and rain would increase. Once the eye passed, the wind would shift and start blowing from the west. Then Igor would turn and move northeast, crossing the head of the Mobile-Tensas Delta. It would continue to dump rain into the river systems, prolonging the flood water to the south. Even after the storm passed upstate, the flood water would last for days, and our parents weren't going to be back anytime soon. That's the end of chapter 14. Bye.